Other factions I really, honestly, the other one I really want to like go ham on is Swamp Works because like I really like Swamp Works and I like what we're doing, but like I don't feel like I have a default play style. Like I don't. Some people seem to be able, much more comfortable hanging back than I am, and so I just want to like get a better feel for like how much I can hang back versus how much I need to rush. I feel like I'm not good at predicting Swamp Works matchups. I just because I just don't understand that fundamental dynamic of the deck. And then like every other faction would be great to just like get better at too. Like I'd love to like actually be good at like Obsidian Dwarves and have people afraid every time they see my dwarves. I'd love to do an Avian's kick. Eternal Council is probably up there in factions that need it. I feel like I know Eternal Council, but I could like really know them a lot better and be more familiar. Like yeah, for it to like to be more successful with them, just having seen so many more situations and know when Ovi's good, when the other ones are good, like whether this is looking like a game that's in my favor for Econ or not. The Master Set is really just like nitpicks. I definitely should do like an Abua kick at some point. I think you're too humble and play most factions pretty well. I do it well, but it could be better. I mean, that's the thing about Summoner Wars, and I appreciate it. But like, you can always be better. I mean, like I know, like I'm sure I don't know. Maybe some people have hit the point where they really can't be, and Vexer seems to kind of think that that exists, like where like that like like that top players can play games and make like no mistakes or only a mistake or two. But like Summoner Wars is such a complicated game that like to be able to say that like you've played a game perfectly sounds really hard. Maybe easier in like for instance the last matchup that we did, Savannah Elves versus Tundra Orcs. I think you could probably analyze a Savannah Elves versus Tundra Orcs game and say objectively this is the right play, this is the wrong play, like just looking at statistics of holding cards and whatnot, just because everything is very simple in terms of just like the give and take of we're gonna be in, oh wait, it was Tundra Orcs versus not Savannah Elves, it was Tundra Orcs versus Deepwood Grooks. They're the same. Thunder Orcs versus Deepwood Grooks. I bet like with that it'd be. I feel like it wouldn't be too hard. I mean, it would still be like really complicated and like you'd have to really know your stuff to analyze the game. And I don't think I could do it. Of like objectively, this is the right line in every state. I could see that for things like Thunder Orcs versus Grooks. For longer, more complicated games, oh my goodness, it's so hard. And I'm so far away from a level where I could say, oh, I've played this game perfectly. Like that's just take a lot. I would love if you talked with him more extensively about his takes. Yeah, maybe sometime we could do. Has this game freaking queued yet? I need another tab. Someone stream snipe me. No, gotta play the plebs. I did a I did. We're gonna have time to talk. This is a fair match game, so like it might take a second. Still high elves. We're learning high elves. That's what this whole rant is about. Um, I wanna know how to play high elves. If anything, just so I can like know how to play against. Like that's the biggest thing. Like my biggest weaknesses being like the factions that I go up against and I don't know how to beat. Like pretty much every faction, I never feel like oh like I'm screwed. This is gonna be impossible. Like I feel like I can see the matchup and be like okay I know what to do. Like but like when I go up against cloaks, it's just like, oh, I lost and I don't understand why. Like, and that means that I don't understand cloaks as a faction. And same thing with high elves. Like, I feel like I just had to rush at them and that didn't work. But like, what else could I have done? I lost. Don't understand why. Or it didn't feel fair. And so I want to. I feel like cloaks and high elves are deep on the list. So yeah, we were getting there. Eternal councils also do some work. Cloaks really needed. I really need to force myself to do like 25 games of cloaks. Good luck getting me to do that. Good fucking luck. Uh, I mean, if I'm doing high elves, like cloaks are soon. One get mine scheme is too much of a tactical one to feel like you understand completely how to win against any faction. Too much of a tactical one. I'm not sure what you mean about that because like because tactics I see as like the game to game, turn to turn sort of thing. And tactics seem like the very thing that like you could make a formula for like tactics is chess. Like chess to me is like 100%. I see what you mean. You cannot plan too far ahead. Yeah, exactly. We'll sort of, but because of that, you could still like this objective perfect player that is like years out from me would say, okay, yeah, so you can't account for everything, but make the play that will have the most likely chance of you succeeding. There's randomness in this game. Um, there's there's your draws and there's your dice, like, and make the play that will have that, despite the randomness, make the play that will have the most likely chance of you succeeding. If anything, for me that makes it easier because there's sort of like a gut feeling you develop for like this is a better play versus this other play is a better play, as opposed to chess where like you would actually need to just like be able to think through all of the possible lines. I mean, I'm sure good chess players like also develop a gut feeling, for like which lines are better and worse. But the difference there being you could actually think it out if you had a supercomputer. I agree, but at the same time, I found it interesting when Vexer talked about what we define as mistake, and here it's just not possible sometimes to know. Um, I feel like I think his point was like, well, maybe you go for like a risky kill, like a 3-on-3, and if you lose, if you don't miss, you're gonna lose. If you hit that, no one's gonna call that a mistake. If you miss it, people are. I feel like you could still step back and be like, no, regardless of the outcome, if you had a better chance of winning the game by not going for that 3-on-3, it was a mistake. Even if you won, it was a mistake. And if that 3-on-3 is the only chance you're going to win the game, or you have a much worse chance of winning the game, if that 3-on-3, like if you don't go for the 3-on-3, just trying to play econ or something, much worse chance of winning. Even if you go for that 3-on-3 and you miss, it was still the correct play. In this like hypothetical like correct and incorrect plays world that we're talking about, that's still the correct play because you uh the chances were better, so it's like a chance game at that point. But yeah, it's a very silly because Vexer it was like missing the context for this discussion, but Vexer posted recently, you know what, I'll just read it because it's like totally public. Vexer posted recently to the feedback and ideas channel. um oh, weird, it's like weirdly formatted. I think the seasonal adjust. This is Vexer talking. I think the seasonal adjustments would be the only way to allow Summoner Wars Second Edition to become a serious competitive game, which is highly replayable. As it stands now, the competitive field requires you to pick among something like 25% of the factions to stand a chance and not have the odds heavily against you all the time. So that means you end up playing the same matchups over and over again within small field of factions, which becomes tedious very fast, which is why I'm skipping on the next PhD tournament. Um, okay, and then I won't read everything else, but he goes on to talk about how that would probably be more updates than you could print physical cards for. That's a downside. And talking about, I think Steam mods is a way you could do it. Um, um, yes, that's interesting. And then I asked him a little bit about that in the tournaments channel. And he said that, well, let me quote this too. He sort of expanded what he means. You can go read the tournaments channel if you, okay, you have to like scroll up, but all these messages were from yesterday, I think. But you can go read the tournaments channel if you want to. But like another key thing he said was, I won't be playing tournaments anymore unless they have random factions or some innovation. It is hard to state how tired I am of playing matches between parentheses fungal dwarves, cloaks, shadow elves, savannah elves without sounding offensive to some. Um, which is kind of a hot take, and I wanted to like ask him more about that because like as allies and responded, like if one of the best, if not the best, Summoner Wars players out here saying that competitive Summoner Wars is broken, then like yeah, you start to listen. And sort of what I like pushed back, but like didn't actually push back. I'm very passive, but like what I was asking about was like, well, so what's the difference? Like, so if we have these S tier factions, which I think like most people would agree there's like around 5 of. Like if you don't take an S tier faction, you take an A tier faction, and Vexer gave a list of what he thinks the tiers are, too, which is probably like roughly what most people would agree with. If you don't take the S tiers, you take the A tiers, what do you think your chances are of winning a tournament? Let me scroll down. So Vexer said if you gave a player totally random factions and force them dead game, by the way, and force them. This is because I'm doing a fair match, not play anyone. Doing it to myself here. Why do I start interrupting myself? Okay, Vexer said if you give someone like B tier factions, bad faction, like factions that are below the curve, which he clarifies he basically only means, which is why I wanted to like ask him, okay, like how prevalent is this? He basically only means like Vanguards, Balzar, and Cthulhu. Well, wait, no, what did he say? No, he says he considers Vanguards and Cave Goblins C tier. He considers B tier, Breakers, Obsidian Dwarves, Phoenix Elves, Fallen Kingdom. So he thinks if you force a perfect player to take any of those factions to a tournament, their chances of winning will be almost nothing. I think he said like 1% or something. Um, and he says that not because like even if in a given matchup you taking a faction that will on average make the odds of you winning a game like 5% lower or something. I mean, and um game to game, there's a lot of variance with dice, and also there's obviously a lot of variance with skill. Like this is only like I mean, Vexers maybe has the privileged position of being able to consider this world of perfect play, but the rest of us don't, or at least I don't. And in pretty much all the games I play, it comes down to randomness plus skill. I would say I would put skill above that. Skill plus randomness. That like you can a more skilled player, even in my opinion, even only a slightly more skilled player can very easily prevail against a weaker matchup. Excuse me. What was I saying? Okay, but so like game to game, game to game, your odds aren't so terrible if you're taking a B or C tier faction. But Vexer is saying on a tournament where you're playing like you have to like play like 30 games or so to make it to the finals. There's enough games there that your odds like the 5% less chance of winning a game each game adds up. And I suppose what it would be good for me to press him on a little bit would be like, okay, so those the B tier and C tier factions. If you bring a faction like that, which I wouldn't have put so many factions below A tier. Like I wouldn't consider Phoenix Elves B tier. I would probably consider them like A minus tier, but whatever. That's neither here or there. I think a lot of people would also be very upset by him putting Cave Goblins in C tier instead of B. But that's also to be debated separately. But then, so I also asked if a player only brings A tier factions to the tournament, how much does that decrease their chances? Sorry, my throat is like really scratchy because I'm sick. Let me just give me a sec. So Vexer responded that if you force like a perfect player to take only A tier factions, it probably decreases their chance to win the tournament. If assuming perfect play, they have a X% chance to win the tournament, probably decreases it by 40 to 50%. Or okay, no, I think decreases it by 50 to 60%. So if you're not taking the S tiers, you're shooting your chances by like half of winning a tournament, which sorry, I need to mute again 1 second. Man, trying to talk super fast and being sick, it's rough. I'm mostly recovered. There's just like a, a buildup of various things in the nasal areas that make existing a little bit painful. um, but so I'm willing to accept that. Like if you go try hard and only take the best of the best factions, only factions that are S tier, that's going to increase your chances of that's like would even over the course of a tournament double your chances to win of a 30 game tournament. Fine. I can accept that. And if you take a B or C tier faction that's kind of throwing, I can accept that too. So like I guess that's why yeah. So I guess from a competitive standpoint, that's what Vexer is saying. You're really kind of throwing if you don't take the top 25% of factions. So I guess what he'd probably be calling for is everything that's in S tier, which again he said Cloak, Shadow Elves, Savannah Elves, Fungal Dwarves, Deepwood Groaks. I personally wouldn't consider Fungal Dwarves up there, but not neither here or there. He'd be calling for if we bring all those down to A tier, that massively increases the number of factions that you can bring, just because nothing is S tier anymore. And then obviously bringing the B and C tier up to A is great as well, in order to have more options. But that's a little bit less pressing because factions that are S tier, it forces everyone to play those factions and play against them. Factions that are B tier, um, this is a public game that I queued, right? Factions that are B tier, well, like whatever, you just see them less, or it's more of a challenge. That's fine. Or it's less. The problem is less obvious. So so qualifying Vexer's point. I feel like I've understood Vexer's point very well at this point now talking it out. But we could I would definitely it'd definitely be fun to have him on and talk about it more. But so taking an A tier faction, taking like not taking S tier factions to the tournament, but only taking A tier factions instead, sort of just need to accept that you are decreasing your chances of winning, but not destroying them. Vexer would say if you don't take instead of taking S tiers, you only take A tiers, you're roughly halving your chances. That seems fair, a little bit unfortunate. But like in a tournament with 30 games, that sort of makes sense that like the 5% better factions that's gonna add up over time, though. But this is also like only the suit like if all you have in mind is you want to win this Swiss tournament of 9 players per pool. Is it 9 per pool? I think it is. 8? 9 or whatever. 10? Is it 10 players per pool? I think it is. Okay, this is something I can check very easily. Because you do 4 games a day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 9. Okay, I don't know why I thought it was 10. Anyway, uh, yeah, I suppose that makes sense. But so like I would qualify what Vexer is saying of like of like paraphrasing. Obviously, he didn't use the word broken, but like competitive play is broken in the sense of you need to play these top S tier factions if you want to win. It's like okay, well you still at least have a pretty decent chance as bringing an A tier faction, and because in this game like we're talking about this realm of pure skill is the only thing. Like we are assuming both players are making no mistakes, which is literally not relevant ever in any like like you like really only the Le Clem de Clep. What is that how you say? Only like very few people could even be an option for. Like in most of the games in that happen in a tournament, I'd say are determined by player skill. It's only 2 players of like very equal skill. The other factors make more of an impact, and of course that's not true. Like the game to game like faction power and randomness could affect the outcome of a single game, but that'll average out pretty quickly. And skill will be the thing that determines the tournament winners, as is kind of evident by the same people always being at the top here. This is very skill based game, but still a decent amount of randomness. But but I see the take. If you like, I think I would say, and I don't mean to like insult the Seven Wars community, but like that the amount of people in the community that are currently like truly competitive, like if Summoner Wars had like an esports scene, these are players that like would be there and like you could like be like, yeah, this person isn't making any mistakes. They like know the perfect lines. All like I think there are very few people in the community who are at that level. I am so far below that. Vexer might be there, might be close to there. I don't really know. It's also the thing that's like very hard to assess, because like how can like it's yeah as a non go Gualak all over my face, Alice. No, you're refraining because you want to hear my interesting thoughts about this interesting topic. That's why you're refraining, and you know it. Do it, you won't. What was I saying? Well, discussion over. Allies ruined it, everybody. Oh, where did you get 900 points from? Were you lying to me? Has that added up over? I suppose the stream has been on for like 4 hours now. Are you back to zero? Are you broke? Where'd you get those points from? I just got it. Back to zero. Let's go. Um, what was I saying? So yeah, so like the truly competitive players where like skill is like not a factor for them at all because they have maxed out that bar. I can see the frustration of it. It then sort of feels like you
This
need.
is not real at this point.
And Beans, you have seen it. Ugh. Beans, what do you think? You a fan of that one? Ugh. I want to get the live reaction. What are your thoughts on the live scene? How do you enjoy that particular pop up there? People were trolling me, so I just added these yesterday. This is the first stream. People were trolling me so much with them during the during the showcase because I was like, they're pretty expensive, but I like didn't account for the fact that her grata has like 20 bajillion points saved up. Oh, should I finish making my point? What is that cube? I thought it was really funny to be a cube. It could also be like a picture of a bug biter face that is like shaking, like it's angry. That would honestly like make more sense, especially for the salt. But the cube is just really funny. Like on the bug biter, like the cube. I really like it. Um, you think the shaking would be better? I can change it. Like I have it. Well, I can't change it during the stream, but that's something that could be gotten here. Let's see if I can. Is this the thing that I can get to like? Oh, well, I've done it. You've finally seen my desktop. Nope, no one. Look away. Stop. No one saw anything. Blurring the stream. Look away. Avert your eyes. Oh goodness. Let's see. What was I pulling up? Summoner Wars. We got so distracted. I was like making like an interesting point, and now it's all gone. Now it is gone forever. I wonder if we'll display because it's I don't have a okay. Here we go. Okay, so this is what we have. This is the other option. Like lightly trembling. Um,
This is not real at this point.
There we go for comparison. What is do 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 yeah, which one's better? Which one's better? I don't know. I like the cube. The cube is like really funny. You like the cube too? The tremble is good, but like the cube just feels like more memey, like you're just like shitting on me. Don't know why it's a biter. You're a biter. Everyone knows that you're a biter, man. No one wants to play against me. Got this game in the queue and everything. Yeah. I think like I definitely want to use the tremble effect for something though. Gotta think if you get any hot ideas, I'm happy to. I'm all ears. Anyways, don't distract me. We're making a point here. What were we talking about? Okay, so for players that are like that have maxed out the skill bar, that they feel like they have to play S tier factions, otherwise they're throwing in a tournament. That makes sense, even though A tier factions are totally viable. That nerfing the S, bringing up B and C, it would make the game better for the health of competitive play overall. But the thing that like gets me is like, how necessary is that given like it is 1% of players in my opinion that are like at that level where like of getting frustrated that the game like because they're like they are so good that it is like everything else is just the other factors. Like it is such a small like for everyone else bringing any factions to the tournament is totally fine because what is going to determine the outcome of your tournament play is skill. Like for everyone else, which is why it's like I'm like, how big of an issue really is like I get it, I totally respect Vector, but like first world problems, you know, like it like how pressing is this if like the people this issue affects is like only the crazy Vexers of the world. But I'm definitely with him. Like it'd be nice if at some point we could get some patches, especially just to like slight nerfs to all like the S tier factions. I think would be pretty easy to do. I don't know how you nerf Shadow Elves, actually. The other ones like Cloak, it's pretty easy to just like make hand cannons like only go on ranged units. Savannah Elves, I don't know, you like nerf Abua's attack and like change the starting setup. Fungal Dwarves, I don't even think are S tier, don't touch them. Grox, you can pretty easily tweak like how many boosts like either the warrior or seer starts with their seer's health. Um, if Groks are S tier, everyone's saying they are, so I'm like kind of accepting it. Shadow Elves, I don't know. I don't know how you nerf Shadow Elves. Shadow Elves are fine. Don't change Shadow Elves. Or like I wouldn't want to nerf that like totally neuters them. But if you were to nerf all of the S tiers, you would probably need to nerf them as well. And I also don't consider myself I, I don't consider myself knowledgeable enough to judge the tiers of the factions. Like I have my own instincts, but I don't really think I'm good enough at the game to say for sure whether something is S tier or not. For instance, my instinct says high elves are S tier, but that's because I always lose against them, and that's probably a skill issue, and that's because I'm bad at them. So like, it really to have any sort of objective tier list takes a lot of work. So yeah, like I don't so that's the issue. That's the issue in my mind of like so like Vexer's right that at a truly competitive level, things could get kind of frustrating because you feel like you're forced to take S tiers to the tournament. Is that really that much of a concern, especially since this game for everyone else is like very skill based? Like how big of a concern is that? Should we do more to like to help competitive play? That's the question that's the issues I see it. What have you guys been saying? I wanted to like finish my point before I read your guys' thoughts on this. All right, I'm scrolling up. Still sick. They didn't want to play tournaments anymore. Ally says I think it's a pretty big deal. The best player in the game says he's tired of playing same matchups over and over. Yep, yep. Um, I think taking a faction that isn't one seen a lot could give you an advantage. That isn't that isn't one SCENE. That um SCENE. Yeah, okay, I did spell it right. The upsets I've had in tournaments, I feel like have been ones where I have a faction that is not super represented in tournament level, and so they're not ready for the strategy with it. Yeah, absolutely. And like an A tier faction versus an S tier faction, at most there's like you've lost like there's a 5% swing because it's a bad matchup for you. Like well, actually that's not true. Like there like within that, and Vector says too. Like within that, there's obviously like strong matchups, weak matchups, and whatnot. There's a cat. Um, but yeah, definitely for sure. Especially like what Vexer would say, are like B and C tier factions. You bring those. No one's expecting the Obsidian Dwarves. Imagine like beating someone with Obsidian Dwarves at Gen Con. Couldn't be me. Um, Get done. Vexer saying he's tired of the matchups is likely because he's tired of the same strategies within those matchups versus playing lots of different things give you lots of different strategies. Yeah, I think exactly. Like there's only they're doing a very good job with Summoner's balance these days. Most factions are A tier. Most factions are A tier. Like a majority of factions are in A tier, which is where they should be. Um, all OD destroyed. What are you talking? Oh, yeah, OD or something. But like if there's just if there's a few that are above that like people that are only going for the W's, I feel like they have to take that. I mean, I feel like that's a thing no matter like there's always going to be factions that are at least slightly better. I mean, I guess that how much better it is matters, but like I don't know, like there is also an extent that like you're kind of doing if like you're only willing to play the absolute meta, like really, like I don't know, like try hard and you're hurting yourself. Especially when like the difference between S and A tier is like pretty small. In Summoner Wars. Though maybe the point Vexer makes is it's still bigger than it should be. Then you guys talked a bunch of shit about Gwalark. I think any being said, I think anything that incentivizes play as many factions in matchups as possible is great. Like Tournament of Panic, the tournament was awesome. Yeah, I think like Vexer's saying probably won't do like official tournaments, but would do um like I think Vexer was in Turtle Panic. Or what was he in Turtle Mania? Not Turtle Panic. It is annoying also that these top tier decks are so defensive. I know, right? Isn't it interesting? Incentivized lane play. Um Yeah, well, like Jaxic always has this point that like if Vanguard's sorry, I need to like 1 second. Imagine being alive. Imagine being sick. Can someone stream snipe me already? What the hell? Never clicking wait for fair match again. I mean, I haven't like I would queue another game, but it's an interesting topic. But someone stream snipe me. Come on, come at me. Okay, yeah, but Vexer always makes this, or sorry, Jexic always makes this point that if Vanguards were top tier, that like wouldn't be a good thing because if they were S tier, because their playstyle is so oppressive and doesn't feel like you can do anything about it. Um, to which I've only recently thought about, like, hey, like, imagine if Obsidian Dwarfs was S tier. Like, I feel like people would get a lot more mad at that than Econ. Like, that would actually feel like an aggro faction that is more powerful than it should be would feel a lot more bad to play. Um, but they aren't. Would feel like a lot more like a negative play experience because like agrofactions, their thing is they get in your face, they limit your options, and then they kill you. And if that happens, like classic like the hunter in Hearthstone, yeah, the cat in the background is just like just we're just vibing. Someone yawn at me. um there should be a variety S tier ideally. To my eyes, ideally S tier should not exist. Well, I mean, I think that's obvious. That the goal we're looking for faction balance is all on the A tier. The S tier is the ones that just ended up a little bit too powerful. I think probably why that has been the case is because aggro factions, it's very obvious what their power is and where it comes from. Like, it's very obvious how that works. Well, econ factions is like really complicated, and over the course of a very long game, um, it's harder to balance that or easier for something to slip through that like, oh, Shadow Elves cloaks are just a little bit too strong at like staying back and playing econ. Like, it's just like just tiny little tweaks can like make a faction push a faction's like econ game from A tier to S. So I think that's probably the reason why we ended up with econ factions being ones that hang back versus aggressive ones. Though yeah, I'd agree it's not good for the meta. Just for like all the lame factions to be the S tier ones. But again, like difference between S tier and A tier in Summoner Wars is like 5% maximum, and like that's just like totally negligible for most players where skill is going to determine it. So even then, I don't think it's that big of an issue, but except for like super competitive players. Um, but yeah, imagine if like Obsidian Dwarfs were S tier. Imagine the rage in the streets. Someone stream snipe me, pretty please. Somebody save me, help me. I don't know. I think the whole convo is a little overblown. I mean, I think that's I think that's part of what I'm saying is or like the question I'm putting is like so it makes sense that Vexer has this issue, but like is this real yeah, I think that is the question of like how much of an issue really is that is this and that's like the question I'm arriving at and curious to your other takes on like because it makes sense to me that it is an issue that is like very much on the minds of people that are at Vexer's level, but I feel like that's 1% of people, and it's not still like even then not even that big of an issue compared to like lots of other asymmetric games. And I've never really considered there to be a big issue, like balance wise in Summoner Wars, other than like when we had like Ice Ram problems. Like to take Orange Laz PD against any S tier deck. Player skill and familiarity. Um, oh yeah, you take you would take like if you were drafting a player to fight for, you'd take Orange Laz's Polar Dwarves against any S tier. Player skill and familiarity are much more important. Yeah, for sure. And like and that level, because like Summoner is a game of not only knowing the faction, but also knowing the matchup. So like if you're really good at one faction, that doesn't just mean that you've played the faction itself a couple hundred times, and probably way more than that, but you've also played each matchup like 100 times or something. Like you know the ins and outs in each matchup, so like no matter what you get in a tournament you are gonna like be familiar with what's going on, and that takes like I'm willing to accept that some people like Vexer like have an innate skill for this. I don't know how many games he has under his belt, but like for me that just takes a ton of playing. Like I just need to like play, you play more, you get better, you um and yeah, and you're more familiar, yeah, and then that's the most important, and that's what brings me back to Summoner Wars is just feeling like I'm always improving. All right, no one trying to stream snipe me right now. Beans, you there? Beans, you want to just play a private game? Allies, you're somebody. Somebody, because I don't, I was doing, and I could go back to doing, play anyone, but like, I just get a lot of beginners and like, it's not great stream content. Yeah, right now. RIP. Because I just kind of, if it's a beginner, I kind of want to throw a little bit, because otherwise it's just like, what's the point? Put a thing in matchmaking. That's fair. That's fair. Well, I feel like I want to be populating the queue. I sure could though. So you're in the queue. I'm in the queue. What? Oh, say you're in the queue. Oh, oh yeah, that's probably smart. Um, I'll say that in content streaming too. Should probably do a play anyone game. I wonder, like, how much is the wait for fair match yellow boundary? I think Joe said it was like 100 on each side or something. Like, I guess that is pretty restricting. Uh, Ping the 45-minute rule, sure. Um, See if we get any takers. All right, yeah, no, this is a good experiment. So I've just pinged the 45-minute roll. Let's see how long it takes me to get a wait for a fair match game. I mean, the ELO gets expanded after every check, so we're probably checking within like a higher range. I don't know if that means like 150, 200 range at this point. Oh, good job. Keeping the people entertained in our time of need, Beans. I appreciate it. Whew. I'm so glad. So you Beans, tell me your reaction to hearing the salt one. Like because you didn't watch the VOD yet, so you like that was the first time you saw it when you clicked on the salt button. Heard your own voice. What went through your head? What thoughts were like this is gold. This is what I have lived for all of my years, Beans. Tell me. See the light to leave your eyes. I knew it was gonna be some BS. Did you know it was gonna be about you? What did you think it was gonna be? Yeah, the cube is just funny. I, I love the cube. Great cube. Best cube. I didn't, but I had but I had to click it. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm impatient. All right. What else are I talking about? All right, so here is what is on my list, and I'm gonna have a lot of time to stream this next week. That's not necessarily to mean that I will I will deliver since I fall flat on that all of the time. But hopefully there's more weekday streams than average this next week. I want to grind out some high elves. I want to get better at high elves. At some point we got to do cloaks. I'm gonna procrastinate that as long as I can. Swamp orcs might be after high elves, honestly. Like feel like these two I really don't understand and it's really hurting me because these are like pretty complicated factions as opposed to like don't really understand Crimson Order and Mountain Vargheth either, but like it's a lot easier just to scrape by with them because you know like it kind of makes sense. Um so maybe Swamp Orcs after High Elves. That feels like too much complicated in a row. So like I see why I don't play these because like these like hurt my brain to try to like learn them again because like after that it's like Eternal Council and it's like I don't want to have to learn Eternal Council. Oh my god. But yeah, I probably like Eternal Council of faction that I always feel like I've understood, but I realize now like I could just I really just don't know the ins and outs of it against like the modern matchups now. I also need to be more aggro than you personally like. Honestly, I feel like that's not my problem. I feel like when I'm new to a faction, I often do go pretty aggro. I think I go more aggro with high elves than people that are good at high elves normally do. Like I'm pretty happy to get in there. Like against Breaker, like I played a bunch of games against Breakers the other day and I just like went I was just like I'm just gonna go up and place a gate and I just did that every single time as high elves. Well I think high elves can really like we saw in the scuffle, Hiles can really just win the like ranged game against breakers. Like, why even bother go up? I don't know. So I'm guessing I think I often use aggression to like if I don't really know what's going on with a faction, I don't really know how to make the tools work for econ. It's just like, well, let's just get aggressive and put pressure on. That's similar what I do with Swamp Orcs. Like I run up first turn and place a gate because I'm like, I gotta get in there. I gotta be using Mugla. I gotta put the pressure on. But apparently, that's not like the way to play them. Apparently, people have found very effective econ approaches, just like hanging back. Not, I honestly don't understand how that works at all. So need to work on them. But I mean, you want to let that happen naturally. Like I want to like let my stupid aggro playstyle like slowly, just maybe slowly, I'll start mixing in some other stuff, and then I'll be like, oh, I can do this instead, and blah blah blah. All right, all right, we're mixing into play anyone. This is too much, too much, too much waiting. I also need to be more. Okay, just what? Reading your message again. Shadow Elves, like everything I can be better at. Because like I'm pretty comfortable with Fungal Dwarves, and I played a lot with Fungal Dwarves. Didn't we check? Like I had a fair few Fungal Dwarves games under my old belt. Let's see. Yeah, I played almost 100. That's like a lot of games. I do not have almost 100 games with most factions. Most factions I have 50 or less. um, but I still feel like I could get better at them. Like I still feel like there's a lot of nuance, a lot of being able to find the plays faster. Like I feel like I'm like not even like I've gotten over the learning curve, but there's like a whole other curve for like getting really good at them that I've just like not even touched. Shadow Wolves 2, I feel like I could just like my econ thing works pretty well, but I feel like I could just like sort of might have better bearings. What I'm excited to play more of is like Skyspear Avians. I think that's a faction I just want to like get better at and just like get a feel for how to play and whatnot. Um, yeah. But so what I really need to do is like high elves and then need. This is very important. It's gotta happen. Otherwise we suffer. Is high elves, swamp orcs, and like eternal council, and then not even gonna bother mentioning because it's not fucking happening. Cloaks. I think those are probably the four factions that I could improve the most at currently. Like those are the four factions that I feel like there's like significant strategies or just like being comfortable in certain situations that I'm just not getting that I just need more experience to get. And then after that it gets easier. Like yeah, maybe I'd feel a lot better. Like I'm just hoping I don't know, like just if I just play like it doesn't even need to be 50. If I just play like another like 20, 25 games of high elves, man, like that'll just be enough to be more comfortable. What do you think are your best? Um yeah, I started to talk about this. I need to like make a video. Best in terms, so I'd say best not in terms of like power, like best not factoring in faction power level. So like best in terms of how we're 100% is you've mastered a deck and you'll like always play it perfectly. Where are you? I started to talk about that. I think a lot of the master set factions I'm pretty comfortable with and like pretty close up there. Like not I like came up with this whole like tier system and it didn't make any sense and I'm dropping it, but like Breakers, Cave Goblins, Fallen Kingdom, like are all up there, but like still significant improvement can be made. Probably particular for like Cave Goblins and Fallen Kingdom. Polar Dwarves and Savannah Elves I've never really done much of. Tundra Orcs 2 is like up there of like really I only have to improve at like very specific niche things. Oh my god. All right. I am officially retiring from Summoner Wars. We're done. I have to go throw a game to your mom's ass. Oh my god. uh, um, but I was saying, I think, well, like when I was trying to go through it the other day, I honestly don't really know how much I have to improve at Phoenix Elves. I feel like I understand their strategy pretty well and it works pretty well. I was like going through and saying like, what do I think about each deck I could improve? I think I could play Holios more. I don't think I use Holios very much. Get value out of that. I think I could be better at that, but I honestly feel pretty effective and like I'm getting the most out of Phoenix Elves. So honestly, I think that's the faction I'd say like that maybe maybe that's the best. And I can totally be like I can't wait to play some Phoenix Elves game and be like, nope, don't get this at all. This isn't working. I suck. That's always what happens. You think like I've described it like I think there's a honeymoon phase for factions. Like I would describe it you as a new faction, not getting it, you're losing, and then something clicks and you're like, this faction is so good, it's unstoppable because you figured out what the faction's power is and how to use it. And you're like, this faction is so good, I'm gonna take them to every tournament, I'm so good at them, I love this faction. And then there comes a point where you start losing again. And that's because like now you're playing players that have equally mastered the factions they're playing with, or more than you have. Um, if Gen Con were tomorrow, what does it bring? Okay, that's an interesting question. I'll think about it. But so I think there's that honeymoon phase. This faction is so good once you figure it out, and then there's like the 30, 50 years of marriage that you have to go through. Of like crap. How do I actually get like what are the things to improve at after that? Like Fallen Kingdom, you figure out the combos and you're like, oh, the combos work good. Warriors hit for 7. This is great. But then you're like, crap. How do I manage my hand to create those combos? That's the hard thing. So I'm definitely over the honeymoon phase with all factions, except for like maybe Mountain Bargath. Like I understand where they're how they're powerful, but then it's the what's next from there. Okay, finishing. Are there any other factions that I feel like yeah? So like Breakers, Cave Goblins, Fallen Kingdom, Tundra Orcs. I feel like it's only like minor things that I would improve. Vanguards might be there too. Like I really don't see how I have untapped potential with Vanguards. I think Valna is slightly better than people say she is and can be sometimes played and maybe I could get her out a little bit. That's like kind of the only thing I would do differently. I think I'd play like I don't really see how I would want to play Vanguards at any better. Other factions, Fungal Dwarves like I'm pretty good at, but I just like you can just always have more experience with Fungal Dwarves. Has this person played their turn? Nope. Shadow Elves, Sand Goblins, similar thing. Wayfarers might be at the same. Yeah, Wayfarers are probably at the same level as Cave Goblins, except they have more tricksy movement. And I'm like, I still don't. I'm still not like super good at like recognizing Baldo situations, and I'm not good at all at recognizing Test situations. Test has like a lot of like kind of niche utility that I just like don't even know how to look for because I never play her. And so yeah, I guess to your question, like what are the best was probably Phoenix Elves and Vanguards. So those are the factions I feel like I have the least to improve at. Gen Con were tomorrow, what would you bring? Okay, I'm gonna limit that to Gen Con is in 5 minutes and I need to pick factions because Gen Con was tomorrow, I'd probably spend all night thinking about it. Okay, at Gen Con, I do want to win. So I'm not just gonna take whatever. I'm gonna take factions that I want to win with, but I also want to take factions that I'm like comfortable with. Like last gen kind of brought like breakers and tundra orcs and like I used to be very comfortable with breaker. um TBT to our wafers fallen kingdom game. What was oh yeah that was an awesome game. That was like the first game we ever played, wasn't it? Probably done taking breakers to tournaments. I hate to say it. I do feel like there's a lot of matchups they struggle with these days. I don't feel like I can be consistent with them. I'm hoping that's a skill issue. I honestly don't know how breakers beat high elves. Like I just don't like that might be a rock paper scissors matchup, same way cave goblins are with fungal dwarves. So I might be done bringing breakers, which is kind of sad. I would honestly be comfortable bringing phoenix elves. I know Vexer just said they were B tier. I think they're good, and more importantly, like I feel like I don't know. I feel like I win with them, and like I think other factions are more powerful, but like part of that is just like I don't know. You're familiar with a faction, you think you can beat someone in a live game at Gen Con with it. All right, let's bring it. They are weak to a lot of the meta factions, though. All right, let's see. All right, so there'd probably be a fun answer and like a good answer. Man, your mom's ass. Take your turn. Okay, the answer for like if I'm just trying to be a tryhard and win Gen Con, I think I'll go with Groaks because I'm still kind of new to Groaks, but also that's a double-edged sword. Other people are also new to Groaks, so I think it balances out. And the way I'm playing them is being very effective so far, so I'll take Groaks. I'll also take Shadow Elves. I haven't played Shadow Elves in a while, so that might be kind of a mistake, but I think they're pretty effective. I think I would take Fungal Dwarves and play them earlier in the tourney because odds are I'm gonna face someone who is less experienced at that point. Because Fungal Dwarves kind of struggle with some of the meta decks these days, but they're pretty easy. They're pretty easy to get wins with against someone that's like played a lot less than you. So yeah, Grog, Shadow Elves, Fungal. You just like in a meta pick me. I'm showing my hand. Fungal Dwarves. Maybe we stick to Tundra Orcs. I think it's between like Tundra Orcs and Phoenix Elves at that point. And those would be like I'd probably do like last would be Grok, second to last Shadow Elves. It's always like the most recent factions. Like if I had done Gen Con the year before last when Fungal Dwarves had just been released, I would have taken Fungal Dwarves because like that was like the new faction and no one knew how to play it. Crimson Order. Crimson Order might be a good take. I have not played them very much. I mean, obviously they're my favorite faction, so I mean, yeah, kind of sad not to take them. Um, I think the fun. If I was like trying to win, I would probably take Tundra Orcs. If I was trying to have fun, I would take Phoenix Elves. But um, like it might be better for me to take Phoenix Elves just because I played with them more recently. I'm more comfortable. We know you're taking Shadow Elves to Gen Con. Worked so well for you last year. Yep. Taking Shadow Elves to Gen Con. All right. I played that matchup like shit. We just did so bad. No one. Oh my goodness. Oh, this makes me sad. The 45-minute queue is not working out very well. I mean, this is just someone that queued a game and isn't playing, but wait for fair match isn't getting anyone. The wait for fair match needs to be expanded. Maybe I should email Joe. Because like, why is it even an option if it's not going to give you games? Like, can we expand it to start at 200 ELO? I think I will ping Joe about it, honestly. Not that he'll read it necessarily, but I don't know. Maybe I'll send a message about it at some point after the stream. Yeah. Okay. So those are my picks. If I end up picking 5 minutes, I'm trying to win. Number one, Groaks. Number two, Shadow Elves. Number three, Fungal Dwarves. Number four, Phoenix Elves. I'm trying to have fun. I think I would take like just like with factions that I'm kind of new with, but having fun with. Probably take Phoenix Elves. I'd take Sand Goblins, I think is the big thing. Sand Goblins are fun. Love Sand Goblins. Phoenix Elves, Sand Goblins, like trying to have fun, but also still trying to win. I would take Groaks, having a lot of fun with them recently. And yeah, probably realistically, I would still take Shadow Elves. So the only thing that would be added is I'd cut Fungal Doors for Sand Goblins if I'm trying to have fun. If I'm really trying to have fun, I'd probably cut Shadow Elves for Wayfarers or something. There you go. You asked for a quick question and you got a 20-minute answer in typical Ben 10 fashion. Does this person know how to play this game? Okay. Counter cue me, I dare you. Cue a game now. You'll cue into me. I dare you. I triple dog dare you. Too freaking tired. That is very fair. Um Here, wait. Chewie gracefully consented to let me steal their cat pick. So someone do the old yawn to show this to Chewie. You know what? I got it. I got it covered. All right. Chewie, was it put to good use? Are you happy? That's for you. The good old yawn. Very, 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 very pleased with that. Your cat is very happy. You know what I just realized today too? We just realized on stream when we were doing the showcase, and I had this picture of Rhett up. Rhett is crying. Got fire coming out of his eyes. He's crying. He's hurting himself. He's crying for the woes of mankind. Gotta like we gotta Photoshop some tears into your cat over there. FD in a live physical game was rough. Yeah, I think the thing is that it's usually rougher for my opponent. I mean, if I'm facing OL, I'll probably lose because he's probably better at that than I am. But like, I feel like most people are not gonna be prepared for that level of game, especially in a live game. For that specific for specifically how Fungal Dwarves warps the game. So I think that would play to my strength. The boost. Oh my goodness. I'm sure I like yeah, I forgot about some boost at some point in the live Fungal Dwarves game. I know I did I really think it is best to start playing every game physical because it just helps you learn like what has to be moved where, as opposed to being automatically. And my first like dozen or so Fungal Dwarfs games were all physical, which I think really helped like the comprehension aspect of like what is happening. And even after that, I forget like in physical, I'll forget to remove my boost from beast all the fucking time. It's super easy to forget. Um, but like that's even someone with a lot of experience has been physical and it's still hard. So yeah, fungal doors and physical is hard. Man, glad we can just have your mom's ass on screen all day, every day. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully the public game will queue into someone. I mean, I don't know if I've ever had success with like I've never really done the wait for fair match, which is one of the games we're doing right now. Um, for 45 because it wouldn't feel like there'd be enough people in the queue to do that, but I kind of want to do that more because I feel like I'm just like queuing into beginners too much when I'm doing anyone. So yeah, so we do high L. It's tough though because I don't want to burn myself out. Like trying to learn a faction that you're kind of bad at is like tough, and that like I don't want to burn myself out by like back to back like doing high elves into swamp orcs into cloaks. But we'll play some with high elves. God, I'm so sick of high elves. I'm already sick of them. I don't know why. They're fun. They're fun. I'm having fun. Oh god. I, not being good at a faction makes it hard to play. Honestly surprised we don't have more names like that around. It's cuz I mean like someone Awards has a more mature audience like the I don't like the I feel like the average like Discord Summoner Wars user is like between 25 and 50 or something. Get better at Mountain Vargash SMH. That's on the list. It's not quite as pressing as the other ones. Also, like Mountain Vargath is more new, so I don't feel quite as bad being bad at them. No, Mountain Vargath is definitely on that list, like equal to like Eternal Council in like it's fine. I can do it fine, but I could do it better. Honestly, like no, like I do not fully understand it. Like what? Why are Mount like what makes Mountain Vargath good? Give me like the one two. Like just getting a bunch of value with Sundervid throughout the game and also playing Varn. Well, what gets me is I just like don't really understand when and where to play the events. Mostly Stronghold, it seems situational. I guess once you see that it's like kind of a trap and you kind of just want to save it in case you need to run away. Um, between 45 and 90. They're good at everything. Thanks, Beans. Real helpful. Everything plays well together. Blah, 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 blah. A boring faction, boring life. That's all I'm hearing. Yeah, the events. I mean, so strongholds and ramming advance are both kind of situational. Everything else is pretty good. I don't love fighters, but like good situational unit. It makes sense. Like the deck meshes well together. It makes sense. I just like don't have that much. I don't have that. I don't have as much success with it as I do with other factions. Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here talking to myself for 4 more hours and then end the stream without having queued a single game. The health is high and the attack is 2 with Sundi. Yeah, good value. The events compound. Yeah, like playing a battle leader and martial force on the same turn is good, or even a ramming advance with that too. Yeah, I mean, and that part I do make sense. Like that is their strength. Like your units have bad attack value and really good health, but then wait, now they have like normal good attack value if they're in range of pseudo red and also really good health, so it like works. More points for me. Heck yeah. How does it work exactly? Like, do you need to click the little like how do points how does like gaining the stream points thing work? Like, do you need to click the little button every 20 minutes? Like, how annoying is that? Like, how is that? Or like, if you just let it sit for an hour and then you click the button, does it give you any less boosts for that? Or less points for that? Like, how annoying is is the the Twitch channel point system overall? I mean, no, it's like it's implemented against all of across all of Twitch, and I don't think there's anything you can do to disable it. So like, let's see, would it let me disable channel points? Do 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 do. Channel points. Oh, I can turn them off. I sure can. Gets points every 5 minutes. Okay, how often do you, as the like the banker of Ben 10 summoner, Ben 10 channel points? Um, Oh, I see. So every 5 minutes you get points, and then you have there's occasionally a click from. So you just need to be in the stream to get points. That's how it works. How often is there a click for more? Is that like every half hour? I see. Okay, that makes sense. Because I'm like, like, have you been
This
sitting
is
here?
not real at this point.
How many beans can't have that many more points? Everyone, her grotto like burned through like 5,000 five somewhere between 5 and 10,000 points in the morning stream alone. Man, it's too early. It's too soon to make dead game jokes. Manage rewards and challenges. I can make a community challenge. Did that one display weird? No, normally it's supposed to. I think it like started at the end of the GIF. Vanguard and Mountain Vargath was boring and annoying as fuck. It was also like not like people were like, this will be like a good matchup. It'll be balanced. And then it was like 60-40 or worse. Like the Vanguards just could not take the heat. Like Mountain Vargath was like just rolls better dice than them. The Vanguards just couldn't do it. Yeah, no, that was last season had some not so great matchups. um like they're all pretty like they were all pretty like lopsided. Like Crimson Order Sand Goblins, that falls on Sand Goblins. Didn't it actually end up even? Like I guess Crimson Order are fine. Like man, I'd really think it'd be worse for Crimson Order than that. What did Vexer have to say about that? I think he said it was a Sand Goblins game. Obsidian Dwarves, Fungal Dwarves. I guess like that one's fun. That's probably the best matchup of this season. Of last season. That's just a fun one because of how the Obsidian Dwarfs have the potential to punish the Fungal Dwarf's Diamond with Bulk Blast. That just makes that instantly fun. Vargas versus Vanguards was mid and kind of sucked. Totally agree. Wayfarers versus Savannah Elves, very volatile matchup where like RNG really you really notice it. Whether the Wayfarers go first and have a crazy turn or don't, and who draws gates. But even though it's volatile, it's a ton of fun, like just for how intense it is. Folks versus Cave Goblins was fun. Though apparently it's pretty bad for Cave Goblins as well. Though I almost beat Vexer, so literally doesn't happen. Wow, you can go watch that. Isn't that crazy? Um, dude, and our Debris has a video. 44. That's decent. Yeah, so not that tilted. What was I looking at? I can create a community challenge. That sounds really tacky. Viewers can crowdfund big rewards with channel points, price them high to last longer, and encourage more participation. All right. If we get 300,000 channel points, I will play a game of Summoner Wars. I will play a game of Cloaks. Yeah, maybe one day. Maybe one day we can do like a earn a 24-hour stream with that or something. It'd be Man, you thought I was going to be playing Summoner Wars today? You fools. There's no one even in the normal queue. This is so sad. Someone stream snipe me. What's going on, guys? Someone do it. Someone end my suffering. Ugh. Chewy, how are you finding this season? Have you enjoyed the matchup so far? Anything you're looking forward to or dreading? People know you're streaming. They're scared. You're super famous. They they hear me stream and they run away from the queue. You would do a 24-hour stream without us crowdfunding. I mean, isn't that the thing with like all of crowdfunding? Like it's something you want to do. You just want to get like paid for it in a fake currency or a real currency. Yeah, I just need to I might like be working a lot less over the summer. So like maybe maybe then we could do a 24-hour stream. I wanted to do one in celebration of like live games being released, but it seems like I've already missed it and live games are dead. So RIP. Gotta have faith. Live games are staying alive. It's 4 o'clock on a Sunday. No one's in the queue. It's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna like at matchmaking like 30 times. Get in here. Okay, let's see. Did I'm just like doing errands now that we have nothing to do. I told Nick about how to save VODs on Twitch. Hey, DQI. Hell yeah. Um, okay. Nick has not saved the most recent VOD. Just gotta remind Nick to do that before like 7 days passes. Because we need the Plaid Hat Games Twitch account to not keep losing all of its VODs because they're not being highlighted. Good stuff. All right. Well, DQI is a gamer. Let's go. Phoenix Elves Pro. Love to see it. Can I cancel this other game in that case? Broken. Broken. Oh no. Hit reload already. We don't need two games.